This is lesson 12.8, Graph and Analyze Relationships. It is found on pages 593 through 596 in your workbooks. What's the best snack to eat during a scary movie? Yeah, if you're watching a scary movie, what's the best snack to eat? Ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. Moving along. So our learning target for this lesson will be to use a graph to describe the relationship between two numerical patterns. So we're going to use a graph this time, and hopefully, as always, you can do it on your own by the end of the lesson. So let's do some looking back. We're going to complete each table, so yards to feet and then gallons to pints. Let's go ahead and complete that. So that's what that should look like. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, because you're multiplying 1 times 3, 2 times 3, you're multiplying 1 times 8, 2 times 8, all right? So that's what it should look like. All right, and then it says, look ahead, make a line graph of the data in each table, all right? So let's go ahead and do that. So that's what those two should look like. And then it says, use the graph to find the number of feet in 7 yards and the number of pints in 6 gallons. So we've got 7 yards, and we need to know how many feet there are going to be. So take it up here and take it up here. Well, that is going to be at 21. And then 6 gallons. Take it up here and here. It's going to be right there. That's going to be 48 pints. Alright, so let's go to our key concept. Graph and analyze relationships. In our example, it says a recipe for iced tea calls for 2 spoonfuls of iced tea mix and 10 fluid ounces of water. You followed the recipe and used 16 spoonfuls of iced tea mix. How many fluid ounces of water did you use? So you say make a table, then write the ordered pairs that correspond to the data and plot them. Connect the plot points with line segments. So they've done that there. From the graph, you can see that all the points lie in a line. By continuing the line, you can see that 16 spoonfuls corresponds to 80 fluid ounces of water. So they got 16 right there. They continue that line up. It's at 80. Well, let's do some in-class practice. So our I can statement there says I can use 2 numerical patterns to write and plot ordered pairs in a coordinate plane. Alright, so number 1 says complete the table showing the relationship between degrees Fahrenheit and degrees Celsius. Then make a line graph of the data. So let's look at this table. So we're adding 5 each time to the Celsius, right? Adding 5 each time. Well, what are we adding to the 32? Yeah, 32 plus 9 is 41. 41 plus 9 is 50, all right? Go ahead and fill in the rest. You're adding 9 each time. Go ahead and fill in the rest, then we'll go over it. All right, so 50 plus 9 is 59. 59 plus 9 is 68. 68 plus 9 is 77. All right, so we've made that table. Then we need to make a line graph of the data, and here's what it would look like. So it wants us to use the graph at number 2 to estimate the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit that corresponds to 35 degrees Celsius. Well, the first thing we need to do, we need to draw a line on the 35 degrees Celsius that goes all the way up, and here's what that would look like. So I got that green line going all the way up by 35 degrees Celsius, right? And then we need to continue that red line to where it crosses that 35 degrees. So let's do that. All right, so I've got my red line that crosses that. So I've got my green line that's all the way up on the 35 degrees Celsius. I've continued my line, and now I've got this mark right here that it goes through. So what is that? I'm going to say that it's around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So then number 3 says use the graph to estimate the temperature in degrees Celsius that corresponds to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of these lines first. And then I'm going to put a dot on that line where 70 degrees is. So there's 70 degrees on that line. Well, where is it? Well, if we put a line down there, and let's do our green line there. So we got our green line there. It's just to the right of 20 degrees Celsius, isn't it? So let's put 21. So that's what that should look like. Now I know I put lines in there, but just wanted to show you that, because if you just draw the line there, you can see where those lines correspond and where those temperatures and such correspond. All right, easier than you think. Let's go on to number 4, and you can do this on your own, and we can go over it. So I want you to read number 4, complete that table, and then make a line graph of the data, okay? Pay attention to what it's telling you, and you'll be able to do that. All right, go ahead and do that just on number 4, and then we'll go over it. All right, so here's what those should look like. So there's the table, and then our graph is going to look like this. Alrighty. And number 5 says, use the graph to find out how much money your sponsor donated when you walked 28 laps around the track. You go ahead and do that, and then we'll go over it. Alright, so you extend that line, go put that line up there. Where do they meet? At $56. Hope you're seeing that. You extend this line, go to 28, and where they meet is your answer. Alright, so with that kind of reasoning in mind, I want you to read and solve number 6. Read and solve number 6, and then we'll go over it. Alright, so it says use the graph to find the number of cups in 4 gallons. So we got 4 gallons, and it wants the number of cups. Well, if we have our line, and we extend it to there, and 4, there we go, 64 cups. Alright, and then number 7 asks, what does the ordered pair 0, 0 represent in the graph? What does that represent? Alright, I want you to go ahead and write down what you think that represents. Alright, pay attention to the graph, see what the graph tells you, what those numbers there represent, and then write down what the ordered pair 0, 0 represents. Alright, here's what I'm going to say. It represents 0 gallons and 0 cups, right? So here's the gallons, here's the gallons, here's the cups. So that 0, 0 would be 0 gallons and 0 cups. So should have written something like that. So number 8 is a matching, and I think this would be a Jolly Rancher moment, alright? So look at that, pay close attention to what it's saying, match the graphs, and then we'll go over it. Alright, you saved $5 and earn $1 each day. So you saved $5, earned $1 each day. See how it's going up? So it's this one. You saved $5 and spend $1 each day, sorry. So you have $5 and then you spend. See how it's going down? There you go. You don't have any money, so it's 0, and you saved $1 each day. See how it's going up there? Alrighty, hopefully a lot of you got Jolly Ranchers on that. Well, let's connect this to real life. In our example, the graph shows the costs of going to a trampoline park after several hours. Complete the table. Write a rule that relates the number of hours to the costs of going to the park. So we got this. Cost is $15, and then 1 hour is 15, 2 hours is 30, right? And then you multiply the number of hours by 15 to find the cost of going to the park. So I would say H by 15 or times 15 equals C. Alrighty, let's do some in-class practice here. The graph shows a bald eagle's heights above the ground after several seconds. Complete the table. I want you to go ahead and do that, then we'll go over it. Well, here's what it'll look like. So after 1 second, it's 40 feet, 2 seconds, 80 feet, 3 seconds, 120 feet, 4 seconds, 160 feet. Alright, so write a rule that relates the number of seconds to the eagle's height above the ground. I want you to go ahead and do that, then we'll go over it. Alright, I would say it's T for time times 40 equals H, right? So you can put different letters there, but it needs to be where you're multiplying the seconds times 40, and that's going to equal the height. Alright, and of course our I can statement here says I can use a graph to describe the relationship between two numerical patterns. Alright, our last one says on your map, every centimeter represents 20 kilometers. On your friend's map, every 2 centimeters represents 50 kilometers. On whose map does 6 centimeters represent a greater distance? And then, how much greater? So in order to work this out, we're going to need to have two separate tables that show the relationship between these measurements. Alright, and this is what those tables would look like. So your map, 1 centimeter, 20 kilometers. So we get 2 centimeters, 40 kilometers. See what we're doing there? Right? Go ahead and fill that out all the way to 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and fill that out. And then on your friends, 2 centimeters, every 2 centimeters equals 50 kilometers. So 2, 4 with 100. Alright, so 6, 8, 12, 14. And you know what? We don't need the 12 to 14 because they're just asking 6. So just fill that out to 6 on each one, and then we'll go over it. Alright, so here's what that would look like. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, and then 50, 100, 150. So let's look at the 6. Whose has more? Yeah, your friend's map. By how much? Well, 150 minus 120 is going to be 30. So 30 kilometers. Well, alright, let's go back over our learning target. Use a graph to describe the relationship between two numerical patterns. Hopefully you can do that on your own. You can use two numerical patterns to write and plot ordered pairs on a coordinate plane. You can generate two numerical patterns, and you can use a graph to describe the relationship between two numerical patterns. And of course, I love you. If you're still at a 2, I will gladly help you. You just need to ask, and you peeps who are at number 4 can help your peers who are at a number 2. Well, alright, y'all have a good one.